Welcome to Heart Dive with Wylea. Welcome back. Hope you're having an amazing week. I just thought I'd come on here and share some of my tools that I've used to clear out the extra junk that I've accumulated. The first one I created, or just decided to do, I guess you could say, was in college. I moved away to college and I had all these emotions and victim feelings and blaming others and just upset feelings that would come up a lot, right? And it was not helping me. So one day I had some come up and I just decided to sit down in front of the mirror, and I was like telling my story to myself, looking in my own eyes and saying how it all made me feel. When I felt like crying, I just cried it out as much as I could. I spoke to the people like they were in front of me in the mirror, expressed how I felt, how they made me feel, how all of that affected me. And so I'd keep doing that whenever emotions and stuff would come up, and I just felt awful inside, right? I was just, the self-talk was bad, all of it. So I just kept doing that for months until I didn't feel like I needed to do it anymore. It really cleared out a lot of stuck emotions and stuck thinking, really. So the emotions trapped in there also gave me limited thinking. So that was interesting that that was all connected. And so I was just freer after I'd done it for months. And at the end of each session, I would just hug myself, tell myself how much I love myself, how everything was gonna be amazing, and that I just have a whole world available to me, right? So that's how I ended the session. And it was just a really great way to hash it out without having to go anywhere or do anything, right? Just sit down and do it. So that was a really powerful tool for me for a while. The second tool that I started using was journaling. I'm sure most of you have done it. It's really great, and you can just go so many places with it. So the first place I went was just writing down my feelings, how I felt about things, writing poetry, just expressing myself in that avenue. It was really helpful, especially when my marriage ended. So I went back and I read all my journals, and I really knew why I made the decisions I made, right? It just became clear. It was like a repeating pattern, being written and written and written, and I was like, wow. So you can get some insight into how your thinking's stuck, or your emotions are stuck, or why you make decisions you make, because there'll be a pattern in there, which is pretty incredible, right? Get a little insight into yourself. So that is super helpful. And then down the road, I also used it to dialogue with my body, right? To find a really deep, peaceful place within and start asking questions, and then just clear my mind and write. I think some people call it automatic handwriting. I'm not sure. But it's just like a way of communicating, right? Where you can like bypass the conscious and get into the subconscious, I believe, or connect with your higher self, or whatever you want to call it. It's just a great way to connect. So I just ask questions like, what do I need to stop eating? What should I eat instead? And it really helped me become healthier and more in tune with my body, and make that connection, the mind-body connection, and do things for my health and well-being. So there's that method. What else did I use it for? Started writing affirmations, any affirmations to help me change my thinking, to manifest things, whatever. Just be aware of what your dreams are, your hopes are, and then reprogram your subconscious by continuing to write the same affirmations, and clear out those blocks within and those patterns, right? So a really good pattern disruptor is affirmations. So those are the tools. And then I just wanted to share a little bit about positive thinking, like how do we get out of these ruts of thinking? So I read this book. It's called The Buddha's Brain. Amazing book. So in that book, they explain all about how we have these pathways in our brain. So we think the same thoughts, right? And the pathways were created for survival, you know, so we don't die, so we can rescue ourselves and not do the same stuff and like, you know, stay alive basically. So we have these survival grooves in our brain, physical grooves, and you can make a choice to change the groove, right? So as you think a better thought and think a better thought and think a better thought, you start creating a new groove in your brain physically. And if you do it enough and consistent enough, then the old pathway will actually close up. And so you create this new pathway. So eventually it becomes automatic to think positive. You create your new ways of thinking. So when something happens, you don't go into like, I'm gonna die, everything's awful. Instead, you're like, I wonder, this may be an opportunity. Maybe I can find the good, you know? You can create these new reactions of thinking in your brain where you're not just freaking out and going straight to like the most negative thing you can think. So if just continue to change the thought, think a better thought, think a better thought, think a better thought, and eventually you're just thinking good thoughts most of the time. It's pretty darn fabulous. Well, it's a short video, but I hope it helped. I hope you're living your best life and having a blast. Because as my hypnotherapy teacher said, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Take care, be well, bliss out, y'all.